American Financing, saving homeowners over $800 every month by using your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt. American Financing, America's home for home loans. AmericanFinancing.net/progress. Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
He's a sociopath.
Look at it, and particularly women. Look at other women that have come over from your side, like Olivia Troy and Stephanie Grisham, that just spoke at the DNC so eloquently, and are getting swatted and getting horrible misogynistic threats from Trumpers. What's happened to your party? I mean, that's what I would say. It's not my dad and Goldwater's party anymore.
It's not the same party. It's not the same party. It's a completely. I mean, it doesn't deserve the name. It is completely remade as a cult, as a personality cult for this one man who is a sociopath and who basically has provided a permission structure for millions of Americans to be and act like their worst selves. We all have bad tendencies that we suppress because we have consciences. But there are people out there who basically now think it's okay to malign people on the basis of their gender, sex, race, or because they just look different, or because just they disagree with them on particular things. Like, and it's just really, really depressing and sad. And this is a party, and it doesn't even there's no ideology to it at all. Yeah. To the extent George, ideology.
I say that all the time. That's why we're soulmates. You just didn't know it yet. That he's just, you're right, it's not even partisan. He seems like he's just giving people permission to act like jerks all the time. Yeah. Say whatever they feel like saying. I mean, it's...
Right.
So,
no, it's terrible. And go ahead.
I was going to say, my other soulmate, Michael Steele, I don't mean to yell out another man's name when I'm with you, but he has told me...
I'm so jealous.
The scorpion and the frog story, he has told me to my face that when we get to the other side of this horrible Trumpian river, he will sting me. He will go, are you going to leave us? Are you going when we get our country back? Stay with us. Stay in the light.
I think that, maybe in a little way, but I think the differences that we have and will have are tiny compared to the gulf that separates basically the decent from the indecent today.
Yeah.
And I actually think, I've always I worked for 30 years in New York at a New York law firm, and I always had good relations with people I discussed politics with. I always got along with the liberals. I always thought, they were kind of got carried away about some stuff, and maybe I got carried away about
civil rights and stuff.
I roll my eyes, but I was never, I never hated them or anything like that. I mean, I remember there was this summer associate at my law firm named Zephyr Teachout, who was basically as liberal as you can get, and she later ran for Congress, I think, or she ran for some office, a public office. She teaches law down in Fordham, and we were like, we were pals for a summer, and even though maybe I was so far right and she was so left that we kind of coincided in some kind of singularity, but no, we love discussing issues, and we love to basically. What's great about having a civil discussion is you can basically isolate what the differences are, what the different assumptions are, and what the factual assumptions are, and then maybe you can determine whether there are different, who's right on the facts. And so, it's, and at the end of the day, we have to be able to have that discussion for our government to operate, because our government is, the democratic system and the rule of law are basically designed so that people can iron out differences about how the society which we run and how people are to live their lives. And hopefully we agree that mostly people should be allowed to live their lives the way they want to, unless it affects somebody else.
Well, that's why I was going to say, first of all, I think that's why you went to get that guitar during the break, because we're going to sing Kumbaya at the end of this. But it's true. Isn't that why what's so brilliant about what Tim Walz has been doing? That used to be Republican issues. Mind your own damn business. Mm-hmm. My dad used to say in '64, the government has one hand in everybody's pockets and the other hand in everybody's business. And this is what we're running on now. Is get out of our bedrooms. Get out of.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Right. No. I was going to say...
I'm going to sing Kumbaya with you.
Yeah. Go
ahead. No, it's exactly right. I mean, there's a total role reversal of the parties in a lot of different ways. I mean, obviously, there may be disagreements on spending, priorities, and other things like that, although the Republicans did not really acquit themselves on the fiscal discipline front when they were in office. Yeah. But, the anti-American party is the Republican Party now.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's no question about that. They're always running down the country. They're always saying it's a disaster. They're always saying it's terrible. They're saying half of America, or more than half of America, is terrible. And then your point about how that, all these issues about national defense. They don't want to defend the country. They don't want to defend our allies. All of these themes.
Yeah.
And get out of people's business. I mean, all of these themes were Republican themes, and they are not anymore because the Republicans they hate the country, they hate people in the country, they want to basically destroy the system as it exists, and they want to basically tell people how they should live their lives, which has always been like, that's not what we're for, guys.
Yeah. You must have,
but it's all because, yeah.
No, I was going to say, sorry, we have a little bit of a delay, but, you must have been so struck with that at this joyful convention last week. All the, things that used to be Republican binkies, the flag, country music,
football. I love the flag. I was taking pictures. I had, from my seat, I was like, there was a flag. There was a woman waving a flag in front. I just loved it. It was like, this was like Reagan 84. I mean, it was really, it evoked, it just evoked the patriotism and the shining city on a hill. And that is America. America is a country where we look forward together. That this is the best of America, where you try to make things better, and you try to be optimistic. I mean, absolutely.
Last week was Morning in America on top of the shining city on the hill. It was all of it.
Oh, absolutely. It was. I've been to 3 Republican conventions, and none were as exciting and hopeful and positive as this. And, it's amazing how the grievances that are on the new right, the Trumpism, they're just really bizarre. Yeah. Grievances about caravans that don't exist, grievances about bathrooms. I've never been to a bathroom where there's been any issue about anybody doing anything.
Well, but to your point, like Josh Shapiro says, they keep just talking America on the other side. And, ours was all patriotism last week. I was going to say, some issues didn't exist, as you know, in 1964, but Barry Goldwater is very openly pro-gay rights, pro-choice on the Senate floor in the 80s. So, even...
he was a libertarian.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. But that's why your PAC is my favorite PAC, just Psycho PAC, because it shouldn't be partisan that Donald Trump is just clearly a psycho.
Wacko.
Talk to us about where the genesis of that.
Well, the genesis is I've been banging this drum, as you may know, since 2018 and 2019. I was talking about this guy being a narcissistic sociopath. And that came about because I was trying to figure out, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
There is something fundamentally wrong with this guy. And it's not just he's crazy, because he's crazy. We have crazy politicians. They're a little nutty, Ed Koch was a little crazy. We have some of my favorite politicians were a little crazy. Winston Churchill was a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
There's something different about this crazy, and it's not a good crazy. It's not something that should be mimicked. And finally, I read enough of the psychological literature that I failed to read in 2016, but I was open to it by 2017, trying to figure this out. And I read, in particular, a Rolling Stone article by a woman who, Alexa Morris, who basically went through the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder under the DSM, and basically was check. And I was like, okay, now I get it. And then I realized he's also a sociopath. So I started, I kept murmuring that to myself and talking to myself like this guy's, I can't believe people don't see this. And then finally I started tweeting it out.
Yeah.
And then he attacked me, and I've been on this kick for several years. It's like this man, and what bothers me most about it is that the mainstream media does not like to talk about it. They know it. They will acknowledge it privately, but there's a fear of talking about this as a mental disorder, which it is. Mm-hmm. And so, we're trying to counteract that. We're going to go around the media. We're trying to explain to the public that this man is not well. And what's great about it in politics is the best messages are those that confirm what you already know deep down. So in your guts, you know he's nuts. And then the second is to explain why those personality disorders are bad for a president. It should be obvious. You don't want anybody with these personality characteristics in charge of your life in any way, shape, or form. The third is to basically get the press to start talking about it. And we're kind of making some headway there because it's that they're more receptive to the weird. You even hear people talking about narcissism and in public commentary. And the fourth is basically to trigger him, so that he demonstrates these characters.
No one's better at it than you are.
Right.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I guess those are my four goals. The fifth is actually kind of an offset. I just popped into my head that there really was another goal, is to get other people to copy and do what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, we started doing this kind of as the Lincoln Project, and there's a long story with that 4 years ago. And I kept saying, "Oh my God, the Democrats should hire shrinks and try to play mind games." Well, they're doing it now.
Yeah.
And,
well, and also
some people,
I just put your lawyer hat on for a minute. I love that Lincoln Project said, we're running, if we're voting for our freedom. Donald Trump is running to keep his freedom. I mean, talk about the cases and what's at stake there.
Well, that's exactly right, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's going to psychologically deteriorate even more. Is he's not just running for president, he's running from prison, and these cases are obviously none of them are going to get resolved before the election, but they're still going to be there, and the only way he's going to beat all of them is to be elected president. And it's amazing that even though his freedom is on the line here, he still can't behave rationally in a manner that would get him elected. They tell him to talk about the economy. He's talking about Hannibal Lecter. I mean, that just shows you how disturbed he is.
I mean, are we that tribal, George? And this is what I wake up thinking. I still can't believe a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, is even able to run, or that it's anywhere near a contest. And also I feel like they're running the worst campaign in history. And my dad only won 6 states, so I'm just Could there be a Goldwater-Miller landslide for Kamala Harris, or are we just too tribal now?
I don't think there could be that kind of landslide because, I just made the connection. I didn't realize.
Oh, that's my daddy? What, do you think I just have a random Miller guy on the wall?
I don't know. I thought it was just political memorabilia. Oh, my gosh. Today I learned something. Oh, my gosh. Anyway. This is my surprise.
He was a Nuremberg prosecutor. I'm on the side without the Nazis. Isn't that weird? Not partisan.
It runs. It's just genetic, I guess.
Yeah.
Where was I? Before I got completely waylaid on that.
That is hilarious because I've already made like 16 references to try to bond with you to my dad and Goldwater, and the giant sign is right behind me.
I looked at. I looked at Goldwater. I didn't focus on
Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
And then I just saw, wait a minute, it says Miller, and now I realize why you're talking about this guy. Okay, I'm so stupid.
Listen,
I just embarrassed myself.
You obviously missed this campaign with Cece Goldwater, Barry's granddaughter. Family name, no skills, just like W. We ran together back in 2008.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's a keeper. Oh my gosh, that's a keeper.
Anyway,
Wow.
Go ahead. What was your point? Sorry.
I don't even remember.
I don't know. We just blew up that whole segment with that
We're just having a good
realization.
time. Let's just sing Kumbaya.
Yeah.
Time for
Kumbaya,
your.
yeah.
We had to bump James Taylor for time, but we're ready for you and your guitar and a final.
Okay. Yeah, James Taylor. Yeah. And
George, please come back. Now that you know, now that I've name dropped.
Yeah, no, I want to come back.
All
Absolutely.
right.
We'll do it.
Yay.
American Financing, saving homeowners over $800 every month by using your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt. American Financing, America's home for home loans. AmericanFinancing.net/progress.